We all need a guide through grief. And there is one component of grief that a lot of people rely on to help them without even knowing that that one component can be what is actually stopping them from healing in the first place. And that component is time. But you see, at some point in our lives, we will all be faced with the loss of a loved one. And I'm guessing that if you're here right now, you're also in that difficult spot. And I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Eric Hodgson, and I'm Zoe's dad. In early 2014, I lost Zoe to suicide. Nothing could have prepared me for that setback, and I never would have imagined this would ever happen. I don't think anybody ever imagines losing a loved one. But no matter how we lose that loved one, grief is one of the hardest things that human will ever have to endure. Over the next couple of years, I struggled to find my path and to figure out what was next in my life. And because I didn't want to repeat a long waiting period like I did after my divorce of trying to figure all that out, I did choose to find a path towards better days. And so in late 2016, I started writing, not sure what I was going to do with any of the stories or the tools that I was putting together, until a coach of mine recommended that I write a book. In late 2017, I completed a Sherpa named Zoe, and in the last 4 years, over 1,400 people have read this book and found at least one or two, if not more, tools to help them move through their grief. And I want to give you a free copy of my book so that you can learn how to walk through your grief and live with intention. Now, most people will only get to and stay in survival mode for the rest of their life. Well, why is that okay? Actually, no, it is not. Survival is not the end game of your journey. If anything, it's the foundation of your journey, and it's vitally important that you find your path through survival and onto your better days so that you can get back up. Because I've seen what happens when people stay in survival mode for a long time. It's actually very predictable. They feel like they're letting their loved one down. They feel like they're struggling to make it through each day, let alone each hour. And they don't feel like they will ever feel better again. But I also know what it's like when you find a guide who will walk with you to help you move from struggle to strength, like Zoe was for me in many ways. It's kind of strange, but it's also predictable when you do that. You not only survive, but then you begin to get back up when any setback hits you, ultimately finding a renewed sense of what life will be beyond your loss. And that's so important. And that's why I want to give you a free copy of this book so that you can discover the way forward through your grief and honor your loved one and yourself at the same time. Now, all I ask is that you cover the cost of the shipping of the book, and that's it. So all you have to do now is click the link below and reserve your copy. Now, you may be wondering, why would I give you a free book? Well, my friend, the reason is very simple. I know how hard grief can be. And I remember taking me many months, if not even a couple of years, before I started to accumulate the tools that I'm giving to you in this book. And I want you to use time to your advantage here, not be held back by it. Because time will not heal your wounds. And that's the hard truth here, is that time is not coming to heal you. In fact, time is not promised to us in any aspect of our lives. However, we can certainly leverage this time to go from struggle to strength. And we do this using my MAPS framework, which I share with you in the book. And here's what that looks like, all right? The first part of MAPS is M. And M stands for being mindful. Being mindful of where you are in your struggles. You see, it's actually okay for you to be feeling what you're feeling right now, no matter what that is. And by allowing yourself to feel what you feel and do what you need to do, it frees you up to work through your grief, which is so very, very important. Now, the A stands for approach. How are you approaching each of the struggles for your overall journey? Now, the key is remembering that you've had struggles in the past and you've weathered those storms each time. And you can do that with every component of your grief as well, if you have a guide. Now, P stands for predict. And what I mean by that is that by taking a step back and predicting what your world will look like when the question, the obstacle, or a struggle is resolved, it's actually looking at where do you want to be when you come out on the other side of that. It's predicting what that is. Now, finally, the S stands for embracing the suck. Now, I'm not suggesting that you snap your fingers and life gets better or that you show up inauthentically to those around you. What I'm suggesting is that you recognize that grief is a difficult journey that requires the strength that you get from carrying on. We get stronger each day by taking one step at a time. Now, by applying MAPS to your struggles, it allows you to strengthen your mindset for now and moving forward, and so that you're also freed up to focus on the continued journey. So let me give you an example of how MAPS works. Let's say you are taking some bereavement time from work and your company gives you 2 weeks. And you're really struggling with that because that doesn't seem like a long amount of time. But using MAPS, we can start to be mindful of what going to work is going to look like for us. We know it's going to be difficult. And so being aware of that is really important. Now, what approach can you take? Well, you can contact your HR department and ask them if there's any flexibility with the bereavement policy or any programs to help someone who is grieving. This may ease your struggle some. Now, with enough information and tools from your company, you can now predict where you want to be in the coming months if you stick with the benefits and the programs that are offered to you. This may also help ease your struggle. Now, when you get to the S of embracing the suck here, that means it's going to be challenging no matter what. But now that you do have an ally in your HR department, they're there to help you figure this out. So that's the way you can apply MAPS. But that is just one component of the book. In section 1, I talk about the early experiences with grief in my life, and maybe some of those will resonate with you. In section 2 is where I get into the MAPS framework itself, and I cover several different examples of how that can work. In section 3, I share with you how to come out of the fog, and in section 4, I talk about thriving after your loss and how to do that. Look, I know this book will serve you very well, especially along your journey, even if you're just starting out. And even if you only use one tool, I think it'll be effective for you. But I have a feeling you'll be able to use a lot more, though. And so if you know a family member or a friend who is struggling with a loss, pick up a copy for them or pick up a copy for yourself. I'll be glad to ship a copy no matter what. So this free book offer is only available for the next 72 hours after you watching this video. After that, you're going to miss out and you'll have to pay the full price of $14.95. So don't forget to click the link below to reserve your free copy of A Sherpa Named Zoe. I'm your guide, Eric Hodgson. Let's continue to walk together.